Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a question that, let's be honest, we've all asked ourselves. What skills actually matter for a successful life right now? We're not talking about theory. We're talking about the practical toolkit you need to really thrive. So let's get into it. So, let me ask you something. Do you feel like school, your formal education, really prepared you for the real world? For handling your finances, navigating a career change, or just managing the day-to-day stress of it all? If you feel like there's a bit of a gap there, you are definitely not alone.
In fact, it's not just a feeling. The source material for this explainer puts it perfectly. In today's dynamic era, academic skills alone are not enough. It's just a fact. The world is moving so fast, and the challenges we face require a completely different set of tools. The kind of skills that decide whether we just get by or if we truly succeed.
And that right there, that's what we're calling the modern skills gap. It's that feeling of disconnect between what we were taught in a classroom and what we actually need to navigate the messy, complex reality of modern life.
Just think about the pressures you deal with every single day. The stress about money and debt. The constant feeling that technology and your job are changing faster than you can keep up. That low-key pressure from social media. And on top of all that, you're trying to have real relationships and not completely burn out. These are the real tests, and they require real-world skills.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem, right? It's a bit overwhelming. But here's the cool part. Our source material doesn't just leave us hanging. It actually offers a solution. It gives us a clear framework to build these exact skills, and it's called ikhlas.
So what is IKFELS? Well, think of it less like a random list of tips and more like a roadmap, really. It's a practical, hands-on system for mastering the skills that actually move the needle in your life, so you can survive, thrive, and really succeed.
And here's the breakdown of how it works. It's a really elegant system. Each letter stands for a core principle. You start with integracy, which is all about weaving positive values into your everyday actions. That foundation helps you find keseimbangan, or emotional balance. And once you have that inner balance, it's so much easier to build healthy hubungan, which means relationships. Of course, none of this sticks without latihan, continuous practice. That practice is guided by analysis, constant self-reflection to see what's working. And all of it leads to the final step, strategy. Using smart, effective strategies to get the results you want. It's a full circle of growth.
Okay, so that's the big picture. But theory is one thing, right? Let's see how this actually works when the rubber meets the road. We're going to zoom in and see how this framework gives us actual, concrete strategies for those modern pressures we were talking about.
All right, let's start with the big one, the one that keeps so many of us up at night: money. This has got to be one of the most essential life skills, but it's something most of us just have to figure out for ourselves, usually by making a few mistakes along the way. So here's a super simple but incredibly powerful strategy from the source. To keep yourself financially healthy, all of your debt payments, your credit cards, loans, everything, should not be more than 30% of your income. That's it. A clear, simple rule of thumb you can use literally tonight to see where you stand. Okay, next up. A skill that is becoming more critical every single day: adaptability. Seriously, with how fast things are changing in our careers and with technology, the way you think about change can be the #1 factor in your success. It decides if something new is a wall or a door. And this really breaks down into two paths you can take. On the left, you've got the reactive mindset. That's when you wait for change to hit you, you resist it, you get overwhelmed. And on the right, you have the proactive mindset. You're preparing for what's next, you see change as an opportunity, and you take charge of learning what you need to know. Making that shift to being proactive, it's a total game changer.
And for our last example, let's touch on a skill we use constantly, whether we realize it or not: negotiation. And I'm not just talking about asking for a raise. This is about everything from dealing with your landlord to figuring out weekend plans with your family.
And the key insight here completely flips the script on what most of us think negotiation is. It's not about winning an argument. The real goal is to find a win-win solution. It's a team effort, not a battle. The point is to find an answer that makes the relationship stronger, not one that tears it down.
So how do you actually get to that win-win? Well, the secret ingredient, the absolute foundation, is a skill called active listening.
This isn't just being quiet while the other person talks. It's about shutting down that voice in your head that's just planning your comeback and instead fully focusing on what they're saying and what they mean. If you can master this, you've unlocked the secret to both negotiation and real empathy.
Okay, so is all this work worth it? I mean, what's the actual payoff for developing these kinds of skills? Well, the rewards aren't just little life hacks. We're talking about changes that can transform pretty much every part of your life.
When you master these skills, the benefits are real and they are huge. You get more done with less stress. You finally find that work-life balance. Your physical and mental health get better. Your relationships at work and at home get stronger. You walk into challenges with more confidence. I mean, look at this list. This is about building an all-around, more successful and deeply fulfilling life. That's what's on the table.
So, as we wrap this up, it all comes down to you. You've seen the gap between being unprepared and being empowered. You have a framework. You've seen some of the strategies. The only question left is, what's your first step? Which one of these essential skills will you master first?